So within the slides, we started with NSLOOKUP, so why don't we look at that here? We can go through NSLOOKUP, and then minus, we can specify then the query type, so we can go through and specify, and we can specify, we'll have just say address records here for www.pluralsite.com. So we can see the server that we've gone to, and we'll be reading that from our resolve.conf we haven't specified. And then we can see then that we're getting two answers coming back, and we can see the IP addresses that we're getting back for www.pluralsite.com. We can also use this interactively, so we can go through and go NSLOOKUP. And if we want to look on a specific server rather than our default server, we can specify that with the server line. So that now becomes my default server. We can go through and say set type equals MX. And then we can go through and look for pluralsite.com. And then we can see the MX records that are coming back for that. If we turn debug on, so if we go through set debug, and then again go through and look for pluralsite.com, you can see then that we get a lot more information coming back. We haven't changed the type, so we're still looking for the MX record, but it displays the server that we're reading from. And then we can go through and then start seeing a little bit more detail with our question and then our answers. So this is very much more like the output that we get from our dig command. So if I clear out and then go through and use dig minus tmx and then go through and look for pluralsite.com, then again you can see the output by default is relatively verbose. If we clear this out, if we want a more simple answer, then we can go through and add in plus short. So we then just get the very small information about the MX records within the pluralsite.com domain. But very simple, as we saw in the slides. If all we're looking for is to just get our address records, then use the host command. So if I go host www.pluralsite.com, then we get to see the two records coming back for that. And if I went through and did something like this, well, we took the IP address, so 54.149.139.199. So we're now doing a reverse lookup on this, and we can see then the domain name that hosts this. Now, of course, these tools are okay, but we have to accept what's being delivered to us. The reality is that all of these tools are just using APIs that are in the system. So why don't we look at creating some of our own custom tools? And we can do this with scripts. We don't need to get into compiled languages.